So, you haven't watched Bill Wurtz. Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm a history student currently working on my master's, and I'm providing reviews of history channels on YouTube. Whether you're familiar with the channels I talk about or not, hopefully I can give you a sense of what kind of content they have and how historically accurate they are. I'll also be throwing in my own opinions, and your mileage may vary. Today, I'll be talking about Bill Wurtz. Now, to start off on the right foot, Bill Wurtz is not a history channel. In general, he produces music and animations, and it's fairly eclectic. However, he has made two historically themed videos, History of Japan and History of the Entire World, I guess. Both are incredibly popular. History of Japan has over 75 million views, and History of the Entire World, I guess, has over 150 million. While he is not necessarily an expert, I thought it would be worth talking about just seeing as how popular and widespread they are. In general, these two videos, like most of his others, have weird animations, bursts of color, and really showcase his musical talents. A lot of the facts he will lay down in these videos are accompanied by a little jingle or a little musical break. The titles for both videos are extremely accurate. They tell you exactly what he's going to be talking about. In History of Japan, he only talks about the history of Japan. And in History of the Entire World, I guess, that is more what is referred to as big history, starting with the Big Bang, working all the way to the present. In general, both videos follow the same format of being a musical timeline. He will throw out events, general things that happened, and give no explanation to any of it other than, and then this next thing happens. This is particularly a feature of History of the Entire World, mostly because he's covering all of history in 19 minutes. It's hard to do anything on that scale without being reductive, but he at least makes it fairly entertaining. The little bits of animation he throws in, the jokes, and the musical one-offs all help to really make some of the details stick in your head. I will mostly be talking about History of the Entire World. It is the more popular video and is more in line with my knowledge, so I can give a more honest critique of what he is presenting. For the most part, the beginning of his video is incredibly accurate, talking about the formation of the universe, the solar system, the Earth itself, all the way up to human history. There are a couple of points of debate within that. I know that it is still unknown exactly what killed the dinosaurs, even though he does go with the top theory of meteors. Another point is where water came from. It could have also come from an asteroid or a meteor, but there really is no way of knowing at this point, and it's real, at the end of the day, it is just a theory. The rest of the video is him just rattling off major events, the rise and fall of various kingdoms across the world. To his credit, this is less Eurocentric than a lot of timelines. He does cover Asia a lot especially during the early portions of his videos, though this will fall off the closer he gets to modern history. The Americas do not get a lot of coverage, but he still provides some coverage at least. He talks about Norte Chico, the Maya, the Aztecs, the Incans, Mississippi. There is no depth to really anything he's throwing out, but he's hitting it so fast paced that it really it really emphasizes how much has happened in human history. It also just really sticks in your head because of the musical earworms he will throw in. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now, despite this being essentially a timeline, there are still some inaccuracies. The most glaring example is when he briefly talks about the French Revolution, and while the portrait is correct, he labels it Louis XIV instead of Louis XVI. It's minor, blink and you miss it, but in such a rapid-fire video, these mistakes come up more than I would like. Another example is the Silk Road. By the time he mentioned it, it had already been in existence for hundreds of years. Another, and this is getting a little bit more nitpicky, is his coverage of the United States. He talks about the civil rights movement as the moment that we decided that racism was bad, and talks about the Civil War as the moment we decided slavery was bad. While that is how we like to remember it, in truth, those both lead to much more complicated, nuanced answers. To be fair, there isn't a lot of room for nuance in the kind of video that Bill Wurtz is doing, but it would be appreciated if he gave more than just rattling off events. Bill Wurtz's greatest strength comes through the music. It helps certain parts of the videos stick in the viewer's mind. This is particularly true of the first part of the video, where he's talking a lot about the science of how the Earth was created and how it came to be. It is one thing to know that solar radiation coming from the sun's rays made life on land very difficult prior to the ozone layer. It is another thing to just think the sun is a deadly laser. Not anymore. There's a blanket. Those little moments help stick out in your mind and help with that retention of little facts. This comes out a lot through his video, where he will barely touch on a subject, and now you know it exists, but you don't know anything more. We know that all we know about the Tamil Kings from his video are that nobody conquers the Tamil Kings. They were probably merchants, and they had spices. Depending on the viewer, this could either be haha, funny little interlude, or it could be a springboard to look more into the subject. And at that point, it really depends on the person watching the video. For someone like me who already had general knowledge, I was drawn to the parts of history that I did not know much about, particularly a lot of the nations in Southeast Asia that he talked about. However, I do have this criticism that unless you have that desire for knowledge, there's not too much beyond the entertainment value to be gained out of his videos. While I do enjoy Bill Wurtz's channel, no matter what he puts out, it is not really one that I recommend. For certain people, it can be really fun. I have a friend who's not the most into history who really enjoys it. On the other hand, I have a history professor who didn't really get it. It's really going to depend on who is watching it and what is their drive to look deeper than what is being presented. Unless you are that person who is going to use it as something to kickstart you into all sorts of your own research, I would not recommend looking into this more than just the entertainment value. That's what I have for this one. I'll see you next time.